we all know about the horrific racist attack that was perpetrated against Dr Wang on Tuesday of last week, an attack that happened whilst he was out jogging in broad daylight in the Woolston area of the city by a cowardly group of racist thugs who set upon Dr Wang, punched him, kicked him, beat him to the ground so badly that he needed to be taken to hospital in Southampton. An absolutely abhorrent attack. And obviously, I think that's reflected in the turnout for this meeting tonight. And like I said, I'm really glad that everybody's been able to join us. I'm pleased to report that Dr Wang is recovering well. And I'm also pleased to say that he's joining us tonight.
So I'm the victim, and but you can see that I'm recovering very well. However, after the attack, I was very grateful that I received immediate support, help from different people, from strangers. Not only they called the ambulance and but also they called the police. They helped me to remember the car plate of the suspects, and also the ambulance staff. They took me to the general hospital. So I just want to say that we must stand up to fight them on the spot immediately. I don't think it was the first time they verbally abuse people. I don't believe that. I would say that just stand against them, and you will be supported and helped from the community, from the people around you.
There are so many supports that we received since this incident, and your support to Dr. Wang is also a support to the Chinese Association of Southampton. It is also a support to the city itself. So we want to be the city of culture, and your support is very important. Southampton is a good city to live. I've lived here for 24 years. My son was born here 18 years ago. And this is a big city and a good city that we want to have all of you to live it together with a happy and harmonious life without being affected by the racism.
I would say this, that when the most powerful political figure in the world, as Donald Trump was until just a few weeks ago as the president of the United States, he describes coronavirus as the China virus and explicitly says that China is to blame. It's hardly surprising that acts like that act as a catalyst for attacks upon Chinese people, or those who, in the eyes of the most ignorant people in society, look as if they may be Chinese. We see echoes of it here in Britain as well. And when we have politicians and a government that has, again, explicitly created a hostile atmosphere for foreign migrants, an atmosphere that led to the Windrush scandal, which has denied so many people access to healthcare, social services, pensions, and so on. People who helped to rebuild Britain in the aftermath of the Second World War. And it is that environment, a specifically hostile environment, and I'm using not my original words, but the words of the then Home Secretary, Theresa May, a hostile environment towards foreign migrants created by our government, by our Home Office. It is hardly surprising that it leads to atrocities like you were subjected to last week. We know, and what you experienced, Dr. Wang, is a vicious and brutal indication that racism is not a thing of the past, but it is something that we have to continue to campaign and organise against in the here and now.
One of the problems in Southampton has always been people not coming out, not calling it out. And that's one of the reasons why, Dr. Wang, I'm proud to say you are my brother. Coming out and actually confronting the racists is the only way it can be dealt with. And now we got the coronavirus and a blatant and open attack on Chinese origin people. Now you notice I use the word origin. We are not talking about our neighbors. We are talking about our communities. We are talking about my neighbor. I live across the river from you, Dr. Wang.
Now, I've seen many changes in Woolston It once had a thriving shopping centre, a major shipbuilding employer with Vosper Thornycroft. 6 of our pubs have closed, a post office and all the banks have closed, the closure of a school, 3 doctors' surgeries merged or closed, but most damning of all, nearly 35% of our children are growing up in poverty. And to me, it's poverty, insecure employment, the high cost of housing, the problems of getting a doctor's appointment are all exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. And when those basics are denied or under threat, then it opens the door to racist division and all the other methods that are used to divide us and maintain the privileges of a few.
As an African, most time we want to say we don't want to have that talk. You wonder, what is that talk? The talk where we have to sit our kids down and say, when you go out there, expect this. When this happens, you do that. Unfortunately for myself, I have tried the best I can to shield my kids from those conversations. But when you have an 8-year-old child come out of school crying, and you ask this child, what is the matter? And they can't speak, all they do is just cry. And then you let them cry. Then you say, okay, dear, what has happened? And this child said, a child in my school called me the N-word. Mommy, what does that mean?
And I would urge everyone to join up with the Southampton branch of Stand Up to Racism. Racism, it happens everywhere. It happens when we walk out of our front door. It happens when we go to school. It happens when we go into the workplace. So I would ask and urge everyone as well, if you see it, call it out. If you see someone saying something indirectly or directly, please support your brothers and your sisters. We need your help. We need allies.
It is so important that those of us who experience racism speak out, share our stories, and stand in solidarity with others, because it's only then that we can work together, raise awareness.
I would urge everyone, right? So to just, to stop any racism, right? And report, because, I believe it's very, very good time to report racism because of the powerful telephone, because of the 4G, the 5G network. You can just take photo, record video. I believe people will be known. So first we go against racism, and if we go against enough, then I would say things can change.